real quick? Yeah, we go pull it up. It's kind of hanging. I'm stopping it because I'm on air potentially, right?
You hit that start broadcast button, you're not on air.
Well, I did, so I could know that we're.
You're live.
Yeah, yeah. Because, hey everyone. So anyway, waiting on Greg. Had some technical difficulty, but he's logging on any moment now. So Greg, obviously the link we have sent everyone would still work for this room. You there?
Yeah, I'm here. I just now put in here. No one's there right now.
Yeah, no, it showed one viewer and then it went to 0.
Here, up in the top URL bar, copy that URL, the URL bar, and paste it in Skype. All this coming in.
Yeah. Lock. Okay, there we go. So it just makes me wonder if they're logged in, you know, if this is the same Hangout that they thought they were coming to. So.
Well, on the right-hand side, do you see the toolbar, the stuff saying?
Yeah, it says Angel Investor Network interview Kyle Wilson.
But do you see
this says log into the webinar room. Hey Greg, if you're there, I can't hear you. I can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
I hear you now. Yeah.
Yeah. So okay. Do you see the Webinar Jam app on the right-hand side?
It says Webinar Jam, log into the webinar room, Angel.
Yeah, so it says log into the webinar room, click that thing over there, and then you got to choose our session.
It says enter room?
Yep, enter room, click, yep.
Okay.
And then you should be able to see the people that registered. There's like 3 or 4 buttons. You can see who registered, you can see who's online, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it hasn't come on yet. So I'm hitting enter room, nothing's happened yet, but we'll give it a second.
And well, there should be a drop down on which inner room there's like you have to click on. I can't. It's out of memory. You have to click on inner room, but there's a thing above inner room that you have to choose the Hangout.
Okay, we did. Now.
So everyone, so we had technical difficulties. I could not get this Hangout started. So I Skyped the link to Kyle, and he started the Hangout, and now he's logged on as me, as I'm logged on as him. So something on my end that was causing problems, but we're trying to get it figured out. We just want to make sure if you can hear us, okay, go ahead and type in the chat bar that you can hear us, and hopefully Kyle's going to see that chat window. Do you see that chat window, Kyle?
It's showing now. I see the 14. I see the attendees. I see a little button that says not live. But it shows live at the bottom, so I think we're good.
Oh, we're definitely live.
But I don't see a chat.
So over on that right-hand side, you should be able to see view, and there's 4 or 5 tabs, and you can see how many people registered and all that kind of stuff. So,
right.
All right. Well, let's just roll with it anyway, and we'll just go for it, and hopefully, well, I can tell it's working on my end. So everyone, this is Greg. I want to say thank you guys for showing up. I'm the CEO of Angel Investors Network, and it is kind of stressful when technology doesn't work. But you go, so what? That's the life of an entrepreneur, right? And that just is what it is. And Now, let me ask you a question. So Dan's over here running running the Google Hangout. He never done this before. So down below where you see my picture, is there a little white box around my picture?
Are you asking me or okay?
Around me, or
Yeah.
around you?
Yes.
Okay, so click it. Just click that picture of you where the white box is.
Okay.
So what happens is the way Google Hangout works is it's voice activated. So if I'm talking, I should pop up. If you're talking, you should pop up.
Right.
But you can click on somebody and put a white box around them, and then they're going to be stuck on the screen. And it doesn't matter who talks or whatever, they're stuck on the screen. So that's we're Google Live Hangouts on the fly. But anyway, I had asked Kyle if he would do this with me, and I want to introduce our we have a big database of entrepreneurs and investors at Angel Investors Network, and we're all about, our mission is to help entrepreneurs succeed, and our vision is to perpetuate free enterprise and capitalism with entrepreneurs. And so I met Kyle, I don't know, a year or two ago, and we never really got to know each other, and he reached out to me about an event that he's doing, and we're going to share that with you a little bit later. But the bottom line is he's got an amazing career, and some of the stuff that he's accomplished and done is just, it's so cool that I want to share with everybody. So I want to lay the groundwork and say this. I'm one of these guys that I was introduced to personal development. And when I mean personal development, I mean the attitude and the philosophy that you never should stop learning. You should never stop going to school. You never stop growing. You never start putting stuff between these two ears. When I was 19 and they gave me the book Think and Grow Rich, and then from there I got led into Zig Ziglar, and I got to Brian Tracy and Jim Rohn and Dennis Waitley, and I bought all the stuff behind Kyle. I can see this library right behind him. I bought all that stuff and I consumed it, and I was in my car, and I was going to college in my car. Right? Every time I was going to work, I was listening, and I just ate it up. And it's really shaped me and made me who I am today. And it's given me the ability to be a leader and to lead people and to coach people and to mentor people. And Kyle's done the same thing. But he's done it in such a different fashion that he was the man behind these guys. He was creating these products with them and going on nationwide road shows. And how many events do you think you've done, Kyle?
Well, I as a promoter that I personally put on, in other words, I said, I'm going to do the event. I went out and did it as my event, 50 or plus as far as events that I was the agent for the speakers, thousands of events.
Thousands. I mean, thousands. You think about that. I think I'm an event junkie, and I go to maybe 10 a year, right? Or not even that, probably like 5 or 6 a year. But I've been doing that for 20 years, right? And I think I've been to everything. So I mean, it's like you, 1,000. It's like the wisdom and where wisdom comes from is from experience, right? So I just said, I said, Kyle, can we do a Google Hangout? And I want to promote you to my database and to my friends and everyone else, and have you share some of the wisdom that you've accumulated over the years, not only putting on these events and orchestrating but you're hanging out with the head guy behind the scenes, brainstorming with them and helping them do their marketing. And you go to your website, kylewilson.com, and every guru out there is giving you the most amazing testimony for marketing. And here, I love marketing. I'm a self-proclaimed marketing guru, right? So I'm like, okay, so I want to say thanks for you taking the time to do this. I know your time's valuable. And so thanks, man. And so start off by giving everybody a 3 or 4 minute synopsis of how you got started in this, and with Jim Rohn and back in the days and all that kind of stuff.
Sure. Hey, Greg, thanks so much. And let me ask you this. So are we recording this? Is there anything?
Yes, it's being recorded. Straight live. It goes straight to YouTube.
Awesome, because, we have had some technical difficulties. So hopefully people are watching this live, and if not, they'll get the recording. So yeah, I got in the seminar business totally by accident. I was a small little entrepreneur group in a small town, and got in the seminar business quite by accident. And from there, I started promoting these little small events, and I got the opportunity to start promoting Jim Rohn. And eventually, I went out on my own, started my own company, and I would go into a city every 60 to 90 days and get 2,000, 2,500 people, and just hardcore, 100 cold calls a day, going to speak, 4 or 5 meetings a day, selling tickets, doing trades with the Business Journal, with radio stations. And I would typically have an Og Mandino and a Brian Tracy, or Jim Rohn and Brian Tracy. And 1993, Jim Rohn, it was an opportunity for me to say, hey, Jim, I think you're one of the best speakers in the world, and yet, you know, you're only doing about 20 speaking dates. He wasn't charging very much, about 4,000. I said, I would love to partner with you. And I knew most of his partnerships had all lost money, right? He tells the story of Adventures in Achievement. That's back when Tony Robbins worked for him. And he said, you know, after we lost 800,000, we shut it down. And so, Greg, I thought, well, you know, let me make him a deal he can't refuse. So I said, hey, it'll be my company. I will invest the money to, you know, for the staff, the team. I have confidence we can build this into something amazing. I'll create products. He had a couple of products at the time. I said, we'll partner on the products. And then on the speaking fee, we'll treat it like a speakers bureau, 75-25. And if it's my event, it'll be my event, and I pay you like a speaker. It's just all those little different distinctions. So in '93, I started Jim Rohn International, and the first year took him from 20 dates to 110 dates, raised his fee from 4 to 10, and started creating products. And one of the first products I created was this little quote book, right? And what the quote book was all about, it's got the little to and from, and, you know, Jim Rohn quote. And what it really became was a viral marketing tool. I went on and did them for Zig Ziglar and Brian Tracy and Mark Victor Hansen, but we moved 6 million of those. And literally every time our phone would ring, we'd say, how'd you get our number? And over 70% of the time, someone would say, someone gave me a quote book. And, you know, awesome. That's kind of going off to the side here, Greg, but people would say, oh, you're not charging enough for those, right? You can charge $5 because I was doing, you know, 10 for $10. If you bought 100, 60 cents each. And I even would print the labels for them. I'm like, you know, I'm making money because I was printing, you know, 50,000, 100,000 at a time. So I'm making money, but the purpose of the book, the download, the idea for me was for it to be a viral marketing tool, for my advocates to go out and spread. And it really did. It was huge. And from there, you know, it's like we couldn't make the products fast enough. And so it's like, okay, someone would love Jim Rohn and they would buy everything he has. So I'm like, then what? Because Jim's not prolific at creating all this content like a Brian Tracy. You know, Jim had his core message, and there's only so many ways you could say it. And we did not try and push that button too much. So I started YourSuccessStore.com, and you know, I had Brian Tracy, Mark Hansen, Les Brown, all the different speakers, and we created a lot of products. So that all led to the internet. And so fortunately, you know, J. Conrad Livingston said, marketing's marketing's marketing. So I thought, if I can fill up rooms without the internet, well, here's this internet thing. Let me figure that out. And so we did a pretty good job of that. And I'd say by 2001, 2002, I built a 1 million+ email list through all these different, we were like the first, you know, one of the first ones there to start really doing, you know, messages from the masters, quotes from the masters, the Jim Rohn e-zine, the Dennis Waitley e-zine. And so, you know, we took it from analog filling rooms to email marketing. And, you know, a lot of other little interesting things along the way. But in late 2007, I did sell all the companies, and we had a company I really thought they could do a phenomenal job, and it was Success. The people that bought Success Magazine, and I was an agent. Not only was I Jim Rohn's partner and started Jim Rohn International, but I'd become an agent for a lot of speakers. And I thought, wow, these guys can take this to a whole new level. And so late 2007, I had to go work for them for about a year, and I had a 5-year non-compete. And the last couple of years, I'm back in the game, and I'm loving it. And you know, I'm catching on quick. You know, I had to cash in my 1 million+ list, but I'm already kind of getting it back. We're doing it again, and this time doing it with social media, right? And email, and events. And so it's always interesting to me. That was probably one of the most valuable quotes was J. Conrad Livingston's. It's like, marketing's marketing's marketing. Because people say, well, you know, that guy did it in that era, but he doesn't understand this era. Well, he understands marketing. He probably understands it better than the person that thinks they're already the expert in a particular niche. Because every niche matters. They all, if you understand marketing, they all connect. All the dots connect.
Well, you know, I hammer that home every day, and here I'm in the kind of an angel investing world and the entrepreneurs raising capital world. And I'm like, you're marketing your investment opportunity. And I've never had an entrepreneur come in my office thinking about, well, I need to raise money. as opposed to, well, I have a marketing plan to raise capital. Will you help me? Right.
Right.
So it's everything's marketing is everything. I'm all on board with that. So tell me, Lex, what's your number one best story about Jim Rohn, and then give me one about for Brian Tracy too.
Oh, you want me to start with my number one best story?
Yeah. Well, one of those good juice, one of those stories that only you would know.
Hey, how about this? I'm going to save my number one for the end.
Okay. That's a good teaser. Yeah. That's
the greatest lesson I ever learned from Jim Rohn that I cannot begin this webinar by telling that story. It's actually pretty emotional to me. So we'll save that to the end. But, Jim Rohn, wow, so many, one of my favorite quotes he talks about, it takes time. It takes time to build something great. It takes time to build a corporate environment. Everything takes time. So give yourself the time. Give yourself the permission. And I think that's a big mistake people make. I really love how Jim Rohn's core philosophy, and he was a philosopher, and that's why his stuff is so relevant and timeless, is truly, I was on a call last night with a guy that kept wanting me to tell the secret sauce, the magic steps, the things that, no one knows that can propel people's success. And I said, just candidly, for me, that ever happened. For me, what happened was steady growth and building, and eventually things mushroom, right? And being a constant student, learning, and I think Jim Rohn was the master at teaching that. It's the accumulation over a long period of time, the consistency. But here's a good one. Here's a good Jim Rohn one. He said, if you want to make a great living, be valuable to the marketplace, right? Bring value to the marketplace.
Yeah.
Here's the caveat. If you want to be wealthy, and this applies to your audience, be valuable to valuable people. You make a great living by being valuable to the marketplace. You become wealthy when you can become valuable to valuable people. So again, too many people are focused on selling instead of bringing value, right? When you bring value, miracles happen.
Yeah,
no. That's a numbers game. It's not a guarantee. You can go out and bring value to 100 people, and it might be one of those relationships that becomes being able to attract the Jim Rohn in my life changed my life, both personally and business.
Yeah, no, it's so powerful. And what you said, I always have the saying, small things done consistently over long periods of time guarantee success. And I see you got the compound effect behind you there. And that's kind of Darren Hardy's book and what it's about. And he's another one I love him. And he was a big Jim Rohn mentee, if you say it that way, I guess. And so I love these little sayings and the philosophy of it, right? Yeah. And I got to tell you, when you were talking a second ago, just today, a friend of mine said, "Did you see this video?" And he sent me a video on YouTube of a 14-year-old. And this 14-year-old's going on a rant going, it's just work. You got to work hard. Nothing comes easy. You got to work hard. If you don't work hard, you don't get it. If you don't want to work, don't plan on getting it. And he just goes off on, if you got to work. And then he pans to the screen going, work your ass off till you die or something like that, right? And it's like, there's something to be said about that. It's like, and I like your idea of like, it takes time, plan for the time, be patient. And, you really spoke to me there because I am like always on it. And I'm so passionate and I love what I do. It's like, go, 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 go. And I'm like you, I've had to grind it out. No one's spreading those pixie dust and I was all of a sudden worth millions of dollars. Right? I'm still grinding it out and fighting the battles, but at least I enjoy everything I do. And I love helping people. I love serving people. But I love what you said about, giving value to the people that give value and taking it to a whole nother level. That's awesome.
Awesome. And then go ahead.
Do you have another comment? I was going to move on to another subject.
Well, you said Brian Tracy, so I'll give you a quick Brian Tracy. I was an early promoter. It was like 1993, 94. And I was, forget the scenario. I live in Texas, right? But I was in San Diego. I came to Brian's house. We were meeting all day. We were doing a little bit of a tour. And he said, hey, you're married, but you don't have kids yet. He said, I've got some advice for you. He said, if I was you, and he said, you're already doing this, but I just want to encourage you, keep pouring it on. And he said, the biggest mistake the majority of people make in life, he said, it's like an airplane. They put just enough effort in. They think they're working hard. I mean, they think they're doing the deal, but really all they're doing is going down the runway pretty fast, but never fast enough to get the plane off the ground. And he said, what happens with the plane, it takes all this fuel when you're going down the runway. It takes more fuel to go 80 miles an hour down the runway than 400 miles an hour in the air. And he said if people would pay the price, it's typically 2 to 3 years of just over the top. If they'll do that, they get to enjoy the rest of their life, at going a much faster speed with less effort. And I really heard him. And it's like, okay, I'm going to do that. I am going to pay that price. And I call it getting the plane off the ground. In fact, I think I mentioned I have this thing called 52 Lessons I Learned from Jim Rohn and Other Legends. And that's one of those lessons where it's like, that was a game changer for me.
Oh, I love that. I love analogies like that. And that reminds me of the one that Brian or somebody probably told about the well where you're pumping water up the well and you got to pump. And then if it starts flowing, you can kind of slow down a little bit, right? Yeah. But if you stop, as the water gets right there, it goes right back down and you got to start over again. That's excellent stuff.
About grinding. And for me, having sold my company, just paying a huge price over 20 years of building it and all the lessons you learn and a team of 20 people, all that good stuff. And then when I sold it, it was the right people at the right time. And we had a huge profit sharing plan. All my people actually wanted us to do what we did. We thought it was the right move for everyone. And but having that time off, and that's contrast, right? So you get the contrast of pouring it on and everyone's saying, oh, you're working too hard. You need to slow down. What are you doing? And then having to go work for someone else for a year, which was not, I don't recommend that for any entrepreneurs. If you tell you, either tell them to leave you 100% alone or don't go work for them. But the middle is not good. But then being retired, and I was retired, and I said, hey, if I'm selling the company, I'm selling and I am out because, I know what it takes to build these things, right? And I was totally content to do it. It worked out good. My kids are teenagers. But, they got older, and having contrast to now know 100% without a doubt, this is what I want to do. I got a call about 30 minutes ago from Mark Victor Hansen, Chicken Soup for the Soul, 500 million books, and a really good friend of mine, 20-year friend, and we're talking. And the Mark Victor Hansen I've always known is just always working because that's what he loves to do. And he's made work his life. And that's truly me. I've had businesses where my social life is different than my business life. And I know going forward, everything I'm going to do is going to be interconnected. I'm going to spend time with people I want to spend time with. So in business, if I don't want to spend time with people, I'm not going to do it. In personal, if I don't want to spend time with them, I'm not going to do it. And it's that person in between that's typically, their business and their people I enjoy being around, and we're stimulated, right? And so I think having contrast to say, hey, I do what I do because I love what I do, and I don't want to do anything else but that. I have a huge respect for people that play at a high level and they keep playing at that high level. So they're not thinking retirement, right?
Yeah, I get that. I hear that for sure. And I get that all the time. People are just like, I don't know how you do what you do. And it's like, I don't know how I do it either. It's like, I got this little guy upstairs helping me out. I know that. So let me ask you, let me hit you between the eyes. So I didn't prepare Kyle, didn't tell him I was going to ask him anything. So what I want to ask you is small business, startup, entrepreneur, wherever they are in that life cycle, one of the things that I'm always trying to coach them on is sequence. I see entrepreneurs doing things out of sequence. They're doing the wrong things at the wrong time. So let me get your insight on sequence. And if you were to give an entrepreneur some ideas on sequence, what would you tell them?
Well, I love that. Well, number one, I'm a big believer in being strategic, right? So you want to, I believe you have to aim before you shoot, right? And then when you start shooting, shoot small, right? People say go shoot big. I did a call earlier today and they were saying, hey, failure's never failure, right? If you're learning and growing. I said, I agree, but candidly, big failure is big failure. The key is to fail small a lot. Thomas Edison failed small a lot. And really, entrepreneurs are mad scientists. Every day you're testing. And the smaller you can test and form an opinion, the better, right? So nothing better than doing 10 things and 9 don't work, and now you know it on a small level. So I think on sequencing, it's really find something that you really believe in that's scalable. I was talking to my daughter last night. She's wanting to do this entrepreneurial venture, and not getting into all the details, I'm sitting there saying, look, for example, if it's a restaurant, and because you think you have a wonderful idea, how about if that space could make you, or gross $2,000 a night, or $5,000 a night, or $10,000 a night, or $20,000 a night? Which one are you going to go with? You're going to go with the 20. And I think a lot of times entrepreneurs don't vet those ideas out well enough. They run with what they think is a good idea, and they've not really thought through, is there people that want this product? Is this product scalable? Because at the end of the day, if you're an entrepreneur, it's the same amount of hours. You're working 60, 70, 80 hours. It's the same amount of effort and brain strain to have employees and to have customers. The demands are the same no matter what it is. So it's coming up with a business model that's really, really smart, right? That checks all the boxes. So I think as far as sequence goes, it's find the right plan. I think it's better to test a lot of things small and then go big with what keeps working.
Yeah, no, I love that. And one of the things I'll touch on that. So one of the things that we do, or I do, is I like to do financial modeling. So we have ideas all the time. So, okay, we put together what I call a mini business plan, which might be 3 to 5 pages. What's our mission? What's our goals? What's our strategy? What's the vision? And then say, okay, what's the cost? What's the potential revenue? What's the product price point? And then run some financial modeling, because it's amazing how we all have ideas. And like you just said, one idea might generate this, another idea generates this, and other ideas, when you really crunch the numbers, go, we're not going to make money with that idea.
Right.
Entrepreneurs do get stuck in that, and they start the business, they get going, and then they don't have, and I'm guilty of this, I'm speaking to myself, you don't have, and I don't know what the word is, but you don't have the gonads to like throw in the towel and flush down the toilet and go, okay, that was a bad idea. I just keep going and keep going and keep going and keep going. And anyone who knows me is laughing in their house up right now, because that's, I'm one of those guys that subscribe to never give up, never give up, never give up.
It's a fine line, right? It's a fine line. And back to my daughter last night, she had an underserved market, what she thought was a great idea. And I said, look, here's the deal. I have those all the time. I mean, I'm constantly having ideas. But then when you vet it out 100 times, you say, it's probably not a good idea. And so I said, it's almost like saying, the food on the airplane sucks. How about if they had gourmet food? And before you know it, you're going to go start an airline so you can serve good food, right? I think if the hotel had this, and before you know it, you're building in your mind a hotel so you can have a great gift shop, which, hopefully people are smart enough to realize, okay, just because it's underserved and you think it's a great idea and you have a solution doesn't make it a good business idea, right?
Okay,
and so is having so many things to check the box off.
So let me ask you another question. So entrepreneurs are coming to me 20, 50 a day, wanting us to invest in their company. And and I know, because you've been around long enough, that not everybody's worthy of investment dollars.
Right.
And there's only so many deals that we can invest in, right? So if you were to give somebody suggestions on their bootstrapping it, what's your best idea? And again, he's not prepared for any of these questions. I'm just throwing them out. What's your best idea that you would give an entrepreneur to say, here's a way for you to bootstrap it. Here's a way for you to bring in some fast cash. Here's a way for you to bring in some revenue. Here's a way for you to do something that's going to help you avoid having to go to investors, because investors should be a last choice in most cases.
Yeah, I mean, if you can't make it happen yourself, it's not a good idea. Doesn't matter what it is. For example, in the music world, I was just in Nashville at a mastermind and talking to musicians who are artists. I said, here's the bottom line. The way it is today, a record label doesn't want you if you don't already have 50 or 100,000 hits on YouTube. And here's why. It means you're not hungry. It means you've not gone out and done your own thing. Right? And then you tell me, as an investor, do you ever want to invest with an entrepreneur who can't make it happen on their own anyway? So investment money is really fuel on the fire of something that's already working. So you have to have a proof of concept. Now, I'll tell you this. How many people want their book published? Everyone. I never wanted a publisher to publish my book. I'm going to go sell 100,000 on my own and have them beg me to publish it. And then you cut all the right deals. Otherwise, you're screwed. So you have to be able to already have a proof of concept that this thing is such an amazing idea, or an investor's not going to do it anyway, right? And so they have to be able to prove the concept. And so, again, I compare it to getting a book published. Publishers aren't going to take first-time authors. In the music world, you're not going to have a label come take you unless you've already proved your own ability to be scrappy and market. And, you know, they know that you're going to outwork them every day.
Yeah, no, and that's kind of like the difference between the entrepreneur and the wantrepreneur.
Right, right.
It's like,
Don't you love idea people, right, that don't execute?
yeah. Well, and then they think that they're going to get it. Again, it's just an unrealistic thought that you think you can get investor for an idea without, you know, it's like I tell people all day, well, how much money have you racked up on your credit cards? Well, I haven't done that. Well, go rack up your credit cards. Show me how committed you are, right? You know, so I need 20 grand now, then I'm gonna need another 200 grand. Well, go rack up the credit cards for 20 grand. So it is one of those things that we want to see that commitment from people. So let's transition now into where you're going. You got something else?
Can I jump in and just say this one thing?
Yeah.
It doesn't work small, it's not going to work big. So you always want proof of concept, right? 100% of the time.
Yeah.
Doesn't work small, it's not going to work big.
Yeah.
So they've got to need that.
And I think there's always that exception to the rule, because kind of like whether it's like Uber, it's like, you know, some of these apps and some of these things, they had an idea, they got financing, and they went big with it, and it costs a lot of money to do the back end of what they're doing there with legal fees and insurance and all that kind of stuff and fighting the laws. But for the most part, those are those unicorn deals that they're not out there a lot. But
exactly. So, those are the ones that throw people off. They're always looking at the exception to the rule,
yeah,
right?
Yeah. So let me take you to a different world, and then I want to talk about your event here in a few minutes. Where do you see yourself, Kyle Wilson? Who are you going to serve, and where do you see yourself in the next 12 to 24 months? And then what are the end results? And you mentioned it earlier, and I kind of always promote when I'm talking to my team and I'm coaching my team. I'm like, look, I want to hear you guys selling the end result, because we deliver results, and if we don't deliver results, we shouldn't be in business, right? So what is the end result that you want to do, and where do you see yourself in the next 12 to 24 months?
You know, that's a good question. And candidly, I've had this luxury of kind of doing whatever I want to do, and I'm exploring all that, Greg, you know, and it's I always tell people when they come to me, I say, I got two simple questions: what's working and what's not working, and do more of what's working and less of what's not working. And what's working for me are these high-end masterminds, and they're not really that high-end financially, but the quality of people I have are just like over the top. And that's very rewarding to me. I'm probably going to do more of those and feel like I'm impacting amazing people with that. I think the other things happening for me is joint ventures with people where I feel like I'm activated. So for example, people come to me all the time about doing compilation books. I'm like, no, I don't really want to. But I've sold 10 million books, self-published books over the years, but it's like, I don't want to do it. Well, I had someone that kind of piqued my interest. It was a millennial. I really liked what they were doing. I liked the people they want to work with. So we did this little compilation we're working on. Next thing you know, we've got all these millennials. And then I love that with the dog. And then
I have 2 office dogs that I bring to the office with me.
Yeah, and so those are fun. So what's happened is that activated me the whole playbook. It's like, you know, you and I both are carrying all these playbooks, right? If someone says, let's do that, let's do an event, let's create a product, let's do a book, whatever it is, right? You know, not only your own playbooks, but everyone else's. And so I think at the end of the day, it's working with people I really like that make me better. You know, Jim Rohn talked about reasons. He said you got to have enough reasons, and some of them are money reasons, some of them are helping other people reasons, some of them are family, some are you just want to own boats or have season tickets. And I think for me, the biggest reason that ever drove me was having a seat at the table. I wanted to hang with Jim Rohn and Brian Tracy, and I wanted to work with the best. And that still drives me. So I think as you're asking the question the next 24 months, I want to do stuff that helps me work with people I really want to work with. And I think we're making a difference. And sometimes, just like with Jim Rohn, I feel like our ripple effect impacted a lot of people, you know, millions of people. That was Jim's message, not mine. I was able to get behind his message and help spread that message. And I'm always content doing that. So working with amazing people, whether it's my message or helping them get their message out, those are the things that attract me. And I'm just kind of exploring all that.
No, I love that. You know, and I know you're very humble, And maybe there's people on this that don't know who Jim Rohn is or don't know who Brian Tracy is, and they don't know who some of these people are. But I can tell you, you helped facilitate great philosophy, great strategies, great tactics, great, just fantastic things to millions and probably tens of millions of people, right? And so I was talking to a guy the other day. We were in Hannibal, Missouri on business, and we were talking. He's like, "Oh, no one impresses me." And I'm like, well, "What do you mean no one impresses you?" It's like when they have an effect on people and a positive effect on tens of millions of people, that should impress you. And he's like, "Well, you got a point there, you know." So I think of you, and it's like, and I'm impressed with your passion, your humbleness, and your desire, and I just think you're so fortunate too, and blessed on the other side of that coin to have been in a situation where you have helped facilitate, and you personally 10 million books. I mean, come on, that's incredible, the people that you've touched. And so I just want people should be dying to get around you and get in your little network and get in what you're doing, because like people, and I'm kind of on a very small scale like you, I've got some good relationships, like Kevin Harrington from Shark Tank, one of my business partners. We did a webinar on Saturday on raising capital. And his last thing he says, he goes, your net worth is directly tied to your network. And if you're hanging around the wrong people, and you know, we've heard it in the personal development world forever, the 5 people you hang around is who you are and what you'll become type thing. And I like my good old boy, Charlie Tremendous Jones, you'll become the books you read and the people you hang around with, you know? So you got to think about that, people. And that's what we're talking about. That's why we do these things. You think I'm sitting here, you know, getting ready to go home. And that's why my dog's jumping up my lap. She knows it's time to go home. It's really weird. It's like at this time of day, she's like, come on, let's go, let's go. She jumps up my lap. She will not leave until it's a good time to go. But we want to help. I want to inspire you with something I can say that will inspire you, something that Kyle can say that will inspire you. That's our goal. We want you to have a better, more fulfilled, happy life. We want you to have better family relationships. And again, that was one of the things, you know, you going back to respect. Brian Tracy, I originally got introduced to Brian Tracy because he was doing sales training. And I had my stock brokerage firm, and we were selling stocks. I had I'd buy them and make people at my work for me go through his sales training. But when I was 23 years old when I got married, and I got a 3-pack. My wife had 2 daughters. They were 4 and 5. And then we had a couple of our own kids. So I'm like 25 years old with like 4 kids. I had no clue what parenting was about. I had no idea. But Brian Tracy had created a parenting class, or not a parenting class, but a parenting course. I can't remember the lady he did it with, but it was a cassette tape. And there was some people who use cassette tapes.
Positive Kids. I saw a lot of those. Yeah.
That was an incredible program, and you gain so much respect for people when they help you raise your kids. And I learned how to be a parent. I learned how to talk to my kids. I learned how to deal with the things that every parent's going to go through. And it's like it should be mandatory that everybody goes through this stuff and takes professional coaching and mentoring and training on how to be a parent, because it's the most important thing you'll ever do in your entire life. And again, you see how people are not doing it very correctly, and what's going on with our country right now is really, really kind of sad. So I have a lot of respect for Brian.
Well, hey, on that note, Greg, you know, I had Brian on a call about a month ago, and you know, I think of Brian, you know, sales, time management, goal setting, right? And when we were talking, he was throwing out all these gold nuggets, and he started doing parenting gold nuggets, and it just hit me like a ton of bricks. It's like, wow. All these beliefs I have and concepts I have and how I raise my kids, so much of that came from Brian Tracy, because I listened to his CDs. I promoted him, and my kids are 20 and 22 now, and I totally raised them, you know, never judging. I mean, always telling them how great they are. I mean, everything he was saying, it's like, wow, I took for granted the impact that it had on me, because I don't think I was hearing that anywhere else. I was hearing other things. And anyway, so many things he said, it's like, wow, Brian, I got that from you. And
that's awesome.
So I'm glad you brought that up, because most people don't bring that part of it up. But equally, yes, I have Brian and Jim to thank me for those things.
No, and I got to give you two other thoughts that I remember. One is, I remember Brian Tracy teaching me that when you travel, it's very traumatic for your children, and in order to help overcome that trauma, is you bring them a gift. And so when you've repeatedly done this, when you leave, they get so excited you're leaving because they know when you're coming back, you're bringing them a gift. And it works beautifully. It just took away the trauma of Dad's leaving. Where's he going? When's he going to get back? To, oh, hurry, great. When are you going to be back? Go, go, go.
That's so cool.
It was awesome. It was awesome. So let's transition to your event and what's going on. So you bump in or you call Brian and you launched something with Brian 20 years ago. So let's talk a little bit about that. Let's talk about your event. And then I'm going to pull it up on my screen. And if you can click on the white box a little bit and go back to me while you're talking about the event, I'll share the event and what you're talking about on the screen. So they'll see kind of what you're talking about. But
Sure.
Let's talk about this 20 years ago, how this started.
Yeah. So, I was in San Diego in January for another event. And I sent Brian a little text message saying, I'm going to be there. I hadn't seen him in a long time. He said, I'm in Hawaii, but I get back next week, such and such time. And so after being gone for 3 weeks, at Christmas time, he came back in his first meeting. We met that morning, had a great time and just connected. And Greg, it never occurred to me going into the meeting. I had no agenda. We're talking. I said, Brian, we should do a 20-year anniversary of the Success Mastery Academy. And it was a program he and I created. And I do have like the original, it's like the original flyer, and we went and promoted it.
I bought that program. I can go back in my back room and pull that out. That's awesome.
Love it. And it really was the best of the best of the best of his stuff. So, Brian at the time had a incredible sales program, an incredible time management program, incredible leadership. And we took the best of the best. And it was 16 modules on 7 goals, time management, productivity, family and balance, the whole thing, negotiation. And we did a tour all over the country, and that turned it to a product. And literally one of the best products he's ever done. He's told me that over the years so many times. He would say his wife, Barbara, it's her favorite program. He's gotten the most amazing comments. And so he said, let's do it. And so I started talking to different people, and Darren Hardy, who we've already mentioned, a really good friend of mine, said, you know what, I was at the original Success Mastery Academy. And you introduced me to Brian Tracy, and Brian impacted my life, and I would love to come speak at the event. And I had Vic Johnson say the same thing. And we literally, if we scroll up a little bit, there's Darren and Vic and Delatoro McNeil, who is the youngest in National Speaker Association, the youngest speaker to ever make it, get the CSP. He's been on Joel Osteen. He's an amazing guy. And then we have some amazing other people. We don't have to go through them all, Greg, but Ron White, the U.S. memory champion, Tom Ziegler, son of the great Zig Ziglar, Nick Bradley, for all you golf people, he helps coach the rider team. Seth Mosley, 28-year-old, already won a Grammy. He's the #1 producer, #3 songwriter in Nashville. Colonel Tim Cole, 31-year colonel in the Marines, one of the greatest leaders I know. Robert Helms, who has the Real Estate Guys podcast, #1 real estate podcast, 5 years running. I was just on a cruise with him where I literally was hanging out with Robert Kiyosaki and Simon Black and Peter Schiff for 8 days. Jeanette Ortega, I'm doing a book with her, and we have Eric Logan, who is Oprah's partner, the president of OWN Network and the president of Harpo is with us. He mentors Jeanette. So
let me ask you a question. Did you click on my little thing so it white boxes it? Because if you're talking, it's going to see you. They're not seeing the screen.
Oh, got it. Okay. How about now?
I don't know. So if you have a white box around it, then it's showing to the people watching.
Okay. Well, I could see it.
Continue talking. And you can.
I hear you. Yeah. So it's white box. Very good. Yeah. So an amazing 3-day event. Everyone that's part of it's blown away by it. I mean, we've already all agreed we're not going to have a green room. It's going to be. Brian's going to be taking notes and hanging out with the people. Darren, every speaker there is going to be hanging out. It's 3 amazing days. And, the thing I found, and tell me if this is true, Greg, you go to a 1-day event and, you're checking your phone, you're checking the email. It's kind of like the first day of a vacation, right? You hadn't really acclimated, but for a 2-day event, a 3-day event, you really settle in. And instead of passing out business cards to people, you're actually going to lunch, you're going to dinner. These become lifelong friends. And people always say to me, wow, your network's incredible. How do you know all these people? I'm like, well, I go to all these seminars, right? Darren Hardy came to my Jim Rohn 3-day events. Most of these speakers had attended all my events. That's how we got to meet each other. So go to be part of the Brian Tracy 3-day, go to be part of Darren Hardy and all these amazing speakers, but also go to meet some amazing people. And the quality of people we have coming are over the top. And we have a lot of people in the investment world. I mean, literally, I was just with Kiyosaki for 8 days. I interviewed him, we hung out. So many people from that cruise, which was kind of a real estate investment cruise, is we're going to be at this event. And
very cool.
Yeah. So
all right, well, you can unwhite box it now. So, you know, I want to give my opinion on why I go to events and why you should go to an event, and then I want to see if you add anything to this. So, I'm one of these guys that really believes that going to events is when you immerse yourself in a room with like-minded people for 3 days, getting shared, taught, and coached and mentored some of the best content in the world, you just grow, and you grow at a pace to where I have this story where, let's say you and I go to New York City and we're sitting there at the bottom of the Trump Tower and we're looking out, we both see the same thing. And then I go to a seminar and I get 3 days getting filled up. That's like me going in the Trump Tower, going up to the 20th floor. Now I'm on the balcony of the 20th floor, and what I see is differently. And you're still down the, you're still on the bottom floor, right? And then I go to another seminar, I go up another 20 floors or 10 floors or 5 floors, and I keep growing and I keep growing and I keep meeting people and building relationships and building my network. Next thing you know, I'm on the 100th floor and people are down on the first floor. And when you see things completely differently, you understand things completely differently, you have empathy, you have sympathy, everything in your life changes in a matter that can help you accomplish what you want at a faster pace with less mistakes. And so I'm always saying, you got to go to these events. Now, if I had my way, I'd go to events, a lot more than I do, but I had a business to run. So I'm very picky and very strategic about the ones I go to. So that's my first pitch to why we all need to be going to events. Every entrepreneur should be going to events. Secondly, is when I go to an event, it allows me to really focus on my business and my growth, my personal growth and the growth of my business. When I'm in my office, like right now, it's quiet because everything's closed, everyone's gone home. But when I come in the morning, my phone's ringing, their little slips are getting pushed into into me going, Greg, call this person, Greg, call that person. Here's an order, here's this, here's that. What do we do with that? I got team meetings, I got calendars, we got events, I got to sign contracts. It's like nonstop, busy, plan. And I really don't have a lot of time to focus on my business, let alone myself. So, and again, I'm probably like a lot of entrepreneurs out there. I don't go to my calendar and block out 3 days. Okay, work on yourself, work on your business. So I'll go to these events with my notepads, with my Evernote, with my little laptop, and I'm taking notes and I'm getting ideas, and I walk away and I create a list of action items, and I come home and I execute, and that's how I've accomplished things. So I want everyone, to consider going to this event. We'll get you the link and get you out there, but you've been to thousands of events and you've seen millions of people affected by this. So what would you add to that, Kyle?
Yeah, I think everything you said is 100% right. It's a chance to go recharge the battery, to sharpen the saw. And I think one of the things, I don't know the percentage, but I would say it's the majority of the people, Greg, learn socially. We learn by interacting. You can read a book and learn. I compare it to like the person, you're doing your devotional or you're doing your daily study, but then you go to church, right? And that's where the connection happens. So I call it immersion. When you're at an event, you become immersed. You get to shut out the world, especially after the first day. I have a really good speaker friend who's like, don't put me on the first day. And I'm like, most people want to go on the first day, And I'm like, he goes, no. I want to be on after everyone is just settled in and they're just totally immersed. And he said, that's when it's so powerful. And you can hear a pin drop and everything's just happening at this high level. And so, we can only speak for ourselves, right? People, they say, how did you do this? How did you meet these people? How'd you learn this? I always say, I go to all these seminars, right? I go to these events. I took notes. I haven't seen Jim Rohn 100 times. I'd still be back there taking notes in my journal. And why? Because it works. There's something about it that works. I don't always understand it all, but I do think we learn socially. We learn by being around other people, and there is an energy and a connection that takes place. It's undeniable. And it's all those times when we say, I don't really want to go to something. You go and you leave feeling you're on cloud nine and something happened. And, you connect with amazing people. We become better. We get, I'm thinking of certain people that are going to be at this event that they're part of my mastermind. It's like I'm blown away every time I'm around them. And so you get that opportunity. And that's why you want to be picky about where you go. You want to be picky about what you're going to receive on stage. You also want to be picky about the people sitting beside you. And this is a really high level quality on the stage and in the audience type of event.
No, I love it. And you think about that, and it's just like you even talked about earlier. You met Darren Hardy in an event 10 years ago or however long it's been, and now look, now he's speaking at your event, right? So it's like the relationship you make. I can think back to events I went to 10 years ago, and I have great friendships, great business relationships. And the fastest way to accelerate your business, is one relationship. It's one. It's
when
one.
Darren talked about Jim Rohn, that was 20 years ago. He came to my first event in 1994, and we've been best friends since. And it was 99% of his interaction with Jim came at my events, or if Darren was in town and Jim was in town, and I'd invite Darren to have lunch with us, right?
That's awesome.
I can't tell you how many stories are like that. I can't tell you how many. It's like, and then you invite X amount of people to come, and they don't come, but then they want to go to lunch with you, right? And they don't realize they keep missing it, right? They don't quite connect the dots of, when you show up for these things, what happens?
We'll do this. So
by the way, you and I met at an event.
Well, that's right. We met at an event. That's right.
At an event.
There's nothing like getting to belly to belly. And I always tell people, I live in Escondido, California. No one is coming to Escondido, California to meet me, right? I have to go places to meet people. And every Kevin Harrington, like I just made an announcement, Burnt Omen. I just created a new partnership with he's the CEO of Tommy Hilfiger's company.
Oh, wow.
And I started a company together. He's the CEO of my company.
Yeah.
I mean, and I met him, right? So you just start putting all the things together. Events help you accelerate. So you can type in the chat bar, the Brian Tracy 3dayweekend.com. Put the link in there, tell them where to go. And if you guys want to go, Brian Tracy 3dayweekend.com, get your tickets. And it's coming up Friday, May 13th, Saturday, May 14th, and Sunday, May 15th. And where is it in Texas? Where is it being held at?
Yeah, it's in the Dallas area. It's equal distance from the two airports. And candidly, I don't see where I can put anything in a chat bar on my end, but I'll tell them.
On the right-hand side, is there like a little chat box?
There's not.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so let me just say real quickly, it's BrianTracy3dayevent.com. BrianTracy3dayevent.com.
Are you? I'm looking at Brian Tracy 3dayweekend.com.
Yeah, they're one and the same.
Oh, they're one and the same. Okay. Brian Tracy 3day, and the 3 is a number 3.
Yes.
And you know what? I don't like to type, but I type in Brian Tracy 3day, and it comes right up in Google. 3-day event. So it's good search engine optimization. It's in Dallas, Texas. And give me an idea of the timeline when it starts and when it's going to end and that kind of stuff. So if they show up, they got to come maybe the night before. They got to get the hotel room the night before.
Yeah. It's 9 to 6 on Friday and Saturday. It's 9 to 2 on Sunday. We do have a VIP reception each night for our Platinums. And the Platinums also have lunch with Brian on the first day and Darren on the second day, and they have upfront seating. So 9 to 6, and then a reception that goes to about 7:15 each night.
Okay, very cool. Well, I haven't actually booked my flight yet, but I'm trying to rearrange some of my schedules because I got, we just talked about this last week. I want to do everything I can to get there. And like somebody said to you, you shared with me, hey, well, I can't make this one. I'll make the next one. And what did you say?
I laughed and I said, well, there's not going to be a next one because this really is. I went out on a limb early on and just said, hey, this is going to be like Led Zeppelin come together after 20 years, and we're only going to do it once. And people aren't going to believe us, but it's true. There's not going to be a tour. If I film it, it's just so the speakers can have it for their own footage, you know. But we're not going to sell the product. It's going to be one of those special things that I want people talking about 20 years from now, just like they did the Jim Rohn 3-day events I did, just like they did with the Brian Tracy 2-day events. That means so much to me, and the camaraderie we have. We have millennials at this event who are teenagers at some of the Jim Rohn 3-day events who are killing it. So, you know, it is what it is. It's going to be a one-time 20-year anniversary of the Success Mastery Academy, and that's why, you know, the Darren Hardys are showing up, is because we've made it special.
And like you said, you're going to be. Is there lunches as part of the whole plan? So people are going to be having lunch?
For the platinum ticket. There's a VIP platinum that has lunch, but you know what? If they're general admission, we've worked out a phenomenal deal with the hotel. It means $12 for lunch buffet, but we also the hotel itself is a 4-star Westin, and I've negotiated $119 a night double occupancy.
Nice.
And that's going to change here in about a week, so they need to go and get booked the event in their room, and had to guarantee a lot of rooms to get the price down that low. But again, we're trying to make this an amazing experience for everybody.
Cool. Well, if you're thinking about it, if there's something inside you saying, man, I want to go, I need to go, that means you need to go, right? So go figure it out. Go click on the link, book your tickets, buy your tickets, get the platinum pass, break bread with all the big wigs and all. And when I say big wigs, I mean that with the most respect, because these people, when you get to meet them and you know them, they care about you. They care about changing lives. They care about helping you achieve more, right? And that's what they've dedicated their whole lives to. So it's phenomenal. And again, some of these names you might not know, but I promise you, each and every one of them, one of those people that meets you and they resonate with you and they like what you're doing, one relationship can just accelerate your business like you would never believe, accelerate your life, your personal life, your relationships. You just never know. So get there, get the tickets, book your rooms, and I'm going to do everything I can to get out there, and I'll see you out there.
Exactly. Come hang with Greg. And you bring up a great point, though. When you have 3 days, guess what? You have time to meet people. It's not like the speakers are in and out. They're all coming. They want to be part of the event. They're all there for all 3 days. I don't have one. I have one who actually has their own event. So Tom Ziegler has his own event in Houston that weekend, and he said, if you can fit me in, I'd like to come on Friday. So he's leaving his own event to come to my event. But everyone else is booked to be there the whole time because they want to be part of it. So that's, if you think about it, if people are there for 3 days, they have time. They're not pressed for time. It's not like, okay, I only have 30 minutes to meet 1,000 people. They're sitting, they're available.
Yeah, no, it's the same thing. And it's like we're doing our event in June, the Angel Money Marketing Live. It's the same thing, 3-day event. You get to meet investors, hang around the right people. And just like Kevin Harrington told me, increase your net worth by increasing your network. And I always tell people, I like that little cliche that says, it's not what you know, it's who knows you. Right? And that's where Kyle has an amazing repertoire of people that know him, that call him when they need help for marketing, for doing events. And I want to get one of those little books that you did. So I got to talk to you about that offline. But
let me go down one more road real quick. Just this
okay.
Stuff that seems kind of silly, but honestly, if you're into Facebook, if you're into social media, and I am, you get your picture taken with these speakers. You get to say you were at the event. This is stuff that'll serve you well 3, 5, 10 years from now, right? You get to Snap it, Periscope it, Instagram it, YouTube it, right? Being with all these amazing people. When I was with Kiyosaki and these guys, I'm making videos, I'm interviewing Kiyosaki. That goes so far, right? People are going to have that opportunity to connect with so many amazing people and have proof of it as well, right?
Yeah, exactly.
These don't happen that often. So,
all right. Well, we're right at the top of the hour. It's been right around 50 minutes since we started 5 minutes late because of the technical problems. So I want to say thank you, everybody, for joining us. I really appreciate you. I can't thank you enough, and I know Kyle would agree with this, that there's only one thing that's really valuable to everybody in the world, and that's time. And you sat through this. You gave us your time. I thank you very much for that. I'll do anything we can to help support you when you get there. Make sure when you're there, tap me on the shoulder. Say, hey, we watched that webinar. That's why I came. Let us know that. Tap Kyle on the shoulder. Say, hey, we saw you on the webinar. We're here because of that. And with that being said, what's your last words you want to leave them with?
Well, I want everyone to know about Greg, and I know this is your group, but it's some of mine as well. And Greg's an amazing guy, a very smart guy, great marketer, really well connected. You have an event in June that I'm going to go to. I've already told a bunch of my peeps about it. When is it, Greg?
It's June 24th through the 26th.
Okay, I'm there. And I already have a group of investor type people who are really amazing that when I send them some of your stuff and send them things about the pitch tank, right? The pitch tank's amazing. They said, I'd love to go. And I'm like, okay, so we'll help get the word out on that. But no, I think we've covered it. It's Jim Rome was always about attracting, not pursuing. We're fishermen, we're not hunters. So we put the bait out. And if they want it, the right people will be, the people that are supposed to be there are going to be there. And that's all I ever ask for is I want to make sure I do my job getting the word out. I know it's going to be a life-changing weekend for everyone that's there. And I'm excited for that. And I hope they come join us. And if we told them the investment, they'd be shocked at how reasonable it is. In fact, you want me to say the investment real quick?
Sure.
Yeah. So $597 a ticket. And here's the amazing thing. For all 3 days, by the way. They can bring up to 2 guests for only $297 each. So someone can bring their spouse, their teenager, they can bring a business partner for an additional $297. And when I met you at that Ryan Dice event, guess who my 2 guests were? Vic Johnson and Darren Hardy. I got
awesome.
ready to come to a Ryan Dice event because for extra $297 each, I could bring a guest. I thought, I'm going to go. I'll just buy 2 extra tickets and invite some people. And Darren came with me and Vic came with me. So
now, that's a great way to get some brownie points. But another thing too is if you have a team, you have a business partner, you got to bring them because it's like going back to that Trump Tower analogy. You don't want to go up 20 floors and have a different view and have them still on the bottom floor. Yeah, that's not a good thing. So, well, with that being said, I want to say I always end stuff this way, going, do what I do, wake up every day with an attitude of gratitude, which I can't exactly remember what personal development person told me that, but I wake up every day and my first thoughts, I start thanking, thank you for this, thank you for that, with attitude of gratitude, and then I go find somebody and say, I love you. And I always have a better day because of it. So if you do that, I think you'll have a better day too. So this is Greg Reiter saying thank you very much. We appreciate it. You guys have a fantastic night. We're signing off.
Thanks, guys.
You can hit that stop broadcast there.
Okay, cool.